I was just on a stream tonight earlier asking a person from Australia what the hell is wrong with his country. They seem to be absolutely crazy over there. Nothing seems to work quite right. And this is still the case right now. Hi, my name is John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author and comic creator. I've got my High School Girl in the Crusades graphic novel available on Indiegogo right now. We are fighting against cancel culture. We're fighting for freedom. We're doing so in the arts, and if you are interested in supporting the channel, this is a great way to do so. The news just broke that Serbian tennis star Novak Djokovic is going to be deported from Australia after a weeks-long drama about this whole deal. Will he? Won't he? Is he going to go? He got the clearance to go from the health board in Victoria. He then flew out. They then seized him. They held him under guard. They took his phone, his wallet, so he couldn't contact anyone, and held him like a common prisoner for hours while they were trying to figure out what to do with him. And after that, while he was trying to appeal the process to be able to stay in the country, to be able to just play some tennis, the healthiest guy in the world. Think about this. This is probably the healthiest, fittest guy in the world, or one of the healthiest, fittest guys in the world up there. There's no danger to the Australian public here. It's all BS. They locked him in some weird roach motel with a bunch of other immigrants who have been locked up there for years in some cases. People who are lost in the system, just treated like criminals for a long time. And it exposed that. He was treated like that for several days, and you'd think that somebody of this level could not be treated like that. Australia wanted to make an example of him. The Prime Minister went out and spoke out against him. They said nasty things. They accused him of lying. They set the media on him. There's this guy, Ben Rothenberg, who works for the New York Times, who has been on a one-man crusade to try to destroy Novak Djokovic's reputation over the course of the last several days. It's been a real crazy nightmare. Eventually, there was a trial, and we watched it on this channel, a lot of us. I had a lot of cool viewers on here, and they set him free. The judge, Judge Kelly, said, what more could a man do to try to comply with the laws of Australia? Djokovic went out, and he went out to practice tennis immediately. The man's a hard worker. He was diligent. He's been working out. He's been getting himself back into shape after having to deal with 4 days of terrible nutrition, of a small room where he's cooped up in, where he's not able to exercise like he would. Just out of control. With all of that, the Australian Open finally did its draw yesterday, which they delayed until after the idiot Prime Minister once again was making another statement. This Prime Minister went out and gave all these measures about COVID and how it's getting even worse. He spread fake science about how Omicron, you can get it again. Like, it's something that you can continually contract and your body never actually produces antibodies. That's not how viruses work. That's not how science works. It was utter nonsense that this guy was spreading. For some reason, the Australian people aren't concerned about it. They've been locked down for 2 years. They're just letting it happen. They're letting these people trample on their rights as human beings. And we're back to square one. So the draw was done. Novak Djokovic was going to be in the tournament. I assumed at that point that this drama was 100% over. I'm like, they can't possibly do anything at this point. Everything's good. He's going to be the #1 seed. We're going to watch some tennis. This will all fade behind us. Australia made some mistakes, but, people might forget it at this point. Not anymore. Unlike a normal person, unlike a normal government at this point where they're just like, you know what, we should not cause a big international incident over this. It's just one person who's already had COVID. He can't possibly even get sick right now. Doesn't make any sense. Let's just let it go and just hold our tennis tournament like that the world around the world is watching. No, they went a step further, and they've now issued the order to deport him. Now, Novak Djokovic's legal team already says that they're going to fight any order in appeals at this juncture. It's going to be yet another circus, another legal battle with Novak Djokovic versus the government of Australia. It really boggles my mind how hard these people are willing to push for their nonsense. It's just been a constant thing where they seem to just be intent on making an example out of this man. It's not about science. It doesn't make any sense. Djokovic tested positive for COVID within the last month. He has had that in his system, which means he's had the most recent variant, which means he does have antibodies. In fact, he's got antibodies better than anybody who has the vax or the boost, no matter what it is. That is settled science, as these people like to say a lot of the time. He should be clear. He's the healthiest possible person there. There are people in the country right now, in Australia, who are positive for COVID, who tested positive when they got there on the tennis tour. It's happened. Those people are allowed to stay in the country. There's no problem with them. Why? Because they took their shots. Well, what does this have to do with this? It doesn't make any sense. If the shots are supposed to stop the spread, if the whole point is to stop the spread to the Australian people, if this is of public interest, as this government official said, to cancel Novak Djokovic's visa, then why should they be going after this man who cannot contract and cannot spread the virus? Why are they out there making statements that are blatant lies, saying that Omicron can be caught over and over and over again in order to instill fear into their people? Well, I'll tell you why. There's an election coming up, and these people are wanting to project strength. The government of Australia is wanting to project that they're in control of everything. They're wanting to let the people of Australia know that there is no way out. They can't do anything. They're going to be under lockdown forever, and they're going to be under the control of the government. I'm really upset about this. I've seen this going on for weeks. I can't believe it's drawn out this long. I can't believe the government's this incompetent, this corrupt, this tyrannical, that they'd harass this guy. But they're showing the world that even though this guy's a huge star around the world, probably the most famous athlete in the world, even though he's a multimillionaire, even though he's probably the peak best athlete in the world, they will do this to anyone. The message of the government of Australia is not just that they can do this to Novak Djokovic, it's that they can do this to you. And they're pushing that hard. I really hope that other governments learn from this and they take a look at this and they go, gosh, we don't want to be like that. It's a debacle. What this did was expose the corruption in the system. It exposed the nastiness of Australia's immigration system. It exposed all of the refugees that are there that are being mistreated by the Australian government. Those people are getting lost in this. Those people get forgotten through the course of this, but they weren't even noticed until it was brought to light from this whole deal. They've shown that the Australian legal system is a complete joke. They've shown that a government official, despite a judge's ruling on this, despite having court hearings on this, despite having paperwork and visas and having documents from the government ahead of time that Djokovic was allowed to come in here, they're saying, we're the government, I'm a person, and I can personally just say you're canceled. You cannot be here. I can do this to you because I feel like it and I'm going to change the rules on you. That is a gaslighting of people and a just complete abuse psychologically of people on a level I've never seen in my lifetime. I hate using this analogy, I really do. I think it's overused so much with people. But it does harken back to Nazi Germany. It harkens back to the propaganda that was put out there in order to brainwash people into compliance, in order to create fear so that people would further comply with these outrageous decisions. Now, I hope there's some sort of something that Djokovic's legal group can do. Like I said, they claim they're going to fight it. The Australian minister says that under the power of Section 133C3 of the Migration Act, he can cancel the visa for the health and order under grounds of the basis that it's just the public interest. Now, what does that even mean? He can't even elaborate as to anything scientifically as to why this matters. It's just a vague statement of public interest. It's really disgusting. I don't know what to do about this. I don't think as somebody outside we have any real say over Australia. What I want to see from the tennis society, from the ATP, which is the men's tennis group, I want to see them cancel the Australian Open. I want to see them stand up for their players, say you can't treat human beings like this. We're not your petri dish. We're not people under your thumb. We are free men. I would love them to say that, to do that, but I don't believe that they're going to have the wherewithal or the, I'd say, gumption to do so. Another thing I'd like to see is the other top tennis players on the tour cancel out of the Australian Open. I'd like to see Daniil Medvedev and Alexander Zverev go and say, you know what, we stand with Djokovic. If he's not playing, we're not playing. This tournament is sullied. We can't win a trophy here and have it mean anything because we're not playing against the top player in the world. He's been mistreated, and if you mistreat one of us, you mistreat all of us. Again, I don't expect that to happen. There's just too much money involved here, and money corrupts people, and people rarely stand up and do the right thing when there's this much money involved. One of the only people I've ever seen do it, the only people to stand up for what he believes in, for his right to choice in medicine, for his right to privacy in medicine, is Novak Djokovic. Very few others have done it. They all just go along. They show their cards. They show their paperwork to the Nazis. They get the jab, and that's it. All right, this is sad. I will cover this more as it develops, as I always have. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and make sure to please back the book, hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll be back soon.